You walked into a room today and someone glanced at you. Maybe it lasted half a second. Maybe they looked away immediately. But your brain noticed. Your pulse shifted. Some invisible part of you adjusted. Your posture, your expression, the way you held your hands. And the strangest part is you had no idea it was happening. That glance meant nothing. That person has probably already forgotten you exist. But your brain filed it, processed it, ran it through a system so ancient and so powerful that you cannot override it no matter how hard you try. And the question no one really asks is, why? Why does a stranger's opinion, someone you will never see again, someone whose name you do not know, someone who has zero influence over your actual survival, why does it matter so much? The answer is not about insecurity. It is not about ego. It is about something that happened to your ancestors tens of thousands of years ago, and it is the reason you are alive right now. Your brain is not designed for the world you live in. It is designed for a world that no longer exists. A world where being watched was never neutral. A world where the gaze of another person carried real, physical consequence. Evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar at the University of Oxford has spent decades studying the social architecture of the human brain, and what he found reshapes everything you think you know about embarrassment, approval, and the quiet terror of being judged. You evolved inside a group, not a city, not a neighborhood. A band of roughly 150 people. Dunbar calls this number the cognitive limit of stable social relationships. And every single person in that group knew your name, your history, your reputation. The group was everything. The group meant food, protection, warmth, a mate, survival. And expulsion from the group meant death. Slow, cold, hungry death, alone on the savannah with no tools and no one watching your back. So your brain built something, a system so sensitive to social signals that it could detect the earliest possible warning that you were losing standing. A raised eyebrow, a turned back, a whisper between two people who went quiet when you approached. These were not social slights. These were survival data. And the brain that caught them earliest, that adjusted fastest, that recalibrated its behavior to stay inside the circle of belonging, that brain survived. That brain passed its wiring on to you. You did not inherit a brain built for confidence. You inherited a brain built for vigilance. Neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman at UCLA spent years scanning what happens inside the brain when a person feels socially rejected, and what his team found is almost unbearable in its clarity. The same neural regions that activate during physical pain, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the anterior insula, light up identically when a person is excluded or rejected by others. Your brain does not distinguish between a broken bone and a broken social bond. Pain is pain. Threat is threat. This is why a stranger's glance hooks you. This is why a comment under a post can ruin your afternoon. This is why your heart rate spikes before a presentation, before you walk into a party alone, before you send a message and wait in silence for the reply. Your nervous system is not overreacting. It is doing exactly what it was built to do, scanning for social threat, flagging every possible signal, keeping you safe from an expulsion that, in the modern world, will never actually come. The system runs automatically. You cannot think your way out of it because it operates below conscious thought. Psychologist Mark Leary at Duke University calls this the sociometer, an internal gauge that runs continuously in the background of your mind, monitoring your social standing and sending alerts the moment it detects a drop. The sociometer does not care that the person who glanced at you is a stranger. It does not care that their opinion carries no actual weight in your life. It registers the signal, and it fires. Every time. Think about what that means. Every time you edit a sentence before sending it, every time you replay a conversation searching for the moment you said the wrong thing, every time you walk past your own reflection and feel a flash of something uncomfortable, that is your sociometer running a background check. That is a system built for a world of 150 people trying to operate inside a world of 8 billion. It is not broken. It is just wildly, catastrophically overloaded. Because here is what your ancestors never had to survive: strangers. Real social life for the vast majority of human history meant knowing everyone you encountered. Faces were familiar. Reputations were known. The social math was manageable. But today you move through thousands of faces every week. You expose your thoughts and appearance to millions online. And your sociometer, built for a village, treats every single one of those faces as a potential member of your tribe, as someone whose opinion could tip the balance between belonging and exile. So it runs at maximum sensitivity, all the time, and you feel it as anxiety, as self-consciousness, as the strange, irrational sense that everyone in the coffee shop is watching you, judging you, remembering you, when the reality is that every single person in that coffee shop is too busy running their own sociometer to spend more than 3 seconds thinking about yours. This is what psychologist Thomas Gilovich at Cornell University called the spotlight effect. His experiments showed, again and again, that people dramatically overestimate how much attention others are paying to them. In one study, participants who wore an embarrassing t-shirt into a room estimated that nearly half the people in the room noticed. The actual number was less than a quarter. The spotlight you feel burning down on you is not real. But the system generating that feeling is ancient, and it is not interested in accuracy. It is interested in survival. And yet, understanding this does not make it stop. You can know, logically, completely, at every level of rational thought, that the stranger's opinion does not matter, and your sociometer will still fire. Because it is not a belief, it is a mechanism. What is more interesting, and more honest, is that this mechanism is not entirely a curse. It is the reason you are capable of empathy. It is why you adjust your behavior in the presence of others, why you read facial expressions, why you care about fairness, why you can walk into a room and within seconds pick up on the emotional temperature without a single word being spoken. The same wiring that makes you flinch at disapproval is the wiring that makes you deeply, powerfully social. The wiring that built civilization, that created language, that allowed humans to cooperate at scales no other species ever achieved. You were not born too sensitive. You were born human. Dunbar's research suggests that even in the modern world, the relationships that genuinely shape your well-being are still capped near that ancient number. Around 150 people, with a closer inner circle of roughly 15, and a core of maybe 5. The strangers do not factor into that number. The algorithm does not factor into that number. The eyes in the coffee shop do not factor into that number. And yet your nervous system cannot stop scanning them, cannot stop adding them to a ledger that was never designed to hold them. So, what do you do with that? You cannot rewire evolution. You cannot shut down the sociometer. But you can begin to recognize the signal for what it is. Not a warning about your actual social standing, not a message about your real worth, but an ancient alarm going off in a world it was not built for. A smoke detector in a house with no fire. Because the next time you walk into a room and feel those eyes on you, the next time a stranger's glance hooks something in your chest, the next time the quiet, after you speak, feels like judgment, remember that what you are feeling is not weakness. It is the full weight of human evolution, doing its job in a world that moved faster than biology could follow. The stranger who glanced at you this morning has already forgotten you. But the part of your brain that noticed that glance is the same part that kept your ancestors alive for 100,000 years. You carry it everywhere you go. You always will. And now, at least, you know why.